So let us start now to think about Greece. And what is it? We can begin with the sea. That's why this picture's up here. We're going to begin with the sea and the role of the sea in the nature of Greece. So I'm going to show you some gorgeous pictures here for just a minute or two of the sea and of the Greek coast. And as we look at them, ooh, don't we love that? Don't we love that? Love that. I have to change my picture here so I can see them. One of the most important things about Greece is that it has more coast than any other European country. And if you think back to that map we started with, you know why. Because you know that the coast of Greece constantly changes direction. It constantly cuts in, way deep in, little tiny peninsula, little tiny peninsula, little tiny, then a little tiny, then it goes in, then it comes back out, then it goes back in, then it comes back out, then it goes back in. So that all of Greece is split up into hundreds of different coastal angles and directions and indentations and peninsular juttings out into the sea by the very nature of the way it was formed. And so Greece has this huge amount of water around it. I know, isn't that great? I love it. And water and waterfront and the presence of water. And so Greece has a unique nature and quality to it, ancient Greece, present-day Greece too, but ancient Greece, in the role of the sea. And in the evolution of Greece, in the creation of ancient Greece, 2000 BC down to 1000, the presence of the sea was absolutely central to what it was. So the first thing is the sea and the presence of the sea in the nature of Greece. Now, a sea people, and that's exactly what everybody called the Greeks, the sea peoples. Other countries, Egypt and others, referred to them as the sea peoples. A sea peoples has a certain character, has a certain nature. The sea people are on the move all the time. They're fishermen. They're out in their boats all the time. They're on their own. So that is there's a key right there, that the very nature of the life that the early Greeks lived was constantly on their own, out in their own boats. Independent businessmen. All of these fishermen are independent business. They're all running their own little fishing business. And they're out catching, they're bringing back, and maybe they're selling. So independent businessmen on the move all the time, a great sense of mobility, a great knowledge of nature, a knowledge of the water, a knowledge of the sky, a knowledge of weather, and of the stars, right? Everybody here knows that. So what happens is sea people are different than their neighbors. They're different than the Egyptians. Compare the Greeks to the Egyptians. The Egyptians live on a great big huge desert with one big river coming right down through it that does the same thing every single year for 100,000 years. Every single year, the same thing. Now comes, has all this nice rich soil, goes over into the fields, you plant your little papyrus or whatever you're growing, and bang, 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 the next, you've harvested, everything's the same next year. So Egyptians lived with exactly the same life, the exact same cycle. Everything was the same every year. Now the Greeks are living with the exact opposite. Constant change of the weather, constant change of the sea, constant change of the stars and of the earth and the position and the relationship of the earth to the stars. And so what this did was breed into the Greek nature a curiosity, for one thing, great mobility, ability to handle change, that was in their nature, and other aspects of a sea people. And so from the beginning, built into Greece, ancient Greece, is this whole other kind of experience because of their relationship to the sea, their constant connection back and forth to the sea. Now, the other thing that this picture shows us right here, and to me it's my favorite picture for this, is the light. And you can all see as you look at this. The light in Greece is different than any place else in Europe. It is sharper, and you can see it right here as it bounces off that stone. It is sharper, it outlines things, and it's more intense. And therefore, this kind of light also had an impact on the nature of Greece. First of all, this kind of light goes with lots of sun, and that meant lots of living outdoors, so that you could live in Greece with very light clothing, sometimes none, for many, many, many months of the year. So this added to the accent on bodies. It added to the accent of athletics, because you could practice athletics all day. You could run, you could exercise, you could do all these different things. So that built into the nature of Greece and that Greek light and that Greek sun was accent on body, accent on athletics, what things look like were sharper. But also, there was built into the Greek light, to me this is one of the most fascinating explanatory factors I've ever read about, built into the Greek light was this sharpness, this clarity of objects, of forms. You and I know that if you're describing something, you can be talking about a form. You might use that word form. Well, that's the same word in Greek as it's related to the word of idea. And so there is a strong suggestion that in the evolution of Greek philosophy, and philosophy such as Plato with his whole theory of forms, that this was connected to the sharpness of Greek light. That the sharpness of Greek light made the Greeks think more carefully, more precisely about forms and the ideas behind them, and the ideas then therefore are then joined together in philosophy. So there's a suggestion, I think it's right, that maybe this part of Greece actually had something to do with the very nature of Greek philosophy. That the uniqueness of Greek philosophy is rooted in the uniqueness of Greek light. And of course that light is everywhere. Here's a wonderful fishing village, and look at the whiteness of those forms in those houses, and the way the sea looks. Or this wonderful temple up on the top of a peninsula where you look up at it and you see the lines of the temple, the lines of the columns, the sharpness of the whole vision. Or the most famous image of all, the Parthenon. If we look at the Parthenon right now, this building, this creation, 450 BC in Athens, is a reflection of the very idea I started with tonight. This building says to you that we, the creators of this building, believe that the universe is orderly. And our highest architectural achievement, this building, reflects that order. This building is universal, encyclopedic, the way a great cathedral is. It has painting, sculpture, and architecture all brought together. And in it, it tells you the whole story of the Greeks, including all the little sculptured works that are all around the building. And the facade says to you, this building, this form, reflects the order of the universe the way the sculpture did that we just saw, the way that the beautiful human being does. So this facade of this building says the same thing, that this building reflects to you order, precision, clarity, universality, everything. And if we put it next to the facade of Notre Dame, we could essentially describe the whole of the Greco-Roman classical tradition and the whole of the Judeo-Christian.